Hi, welcome to Lean Blog Interviews. I'm your host, Mark Raven. I'm really excited to be joined today by Bruce Hamilton. It's his first time joining us. He is the president of GBMP Consulting Group. He's also director emeritus for the Shingo Institute, which is the home of the Shingo Prize. He's a senior examiner for the Shingo Prize and a certified Shingo Institute workshops facilitator. He is also a past recipient of the Shingo Prize in both the business and academic categories, and he's an inductee to the Shingo Academy. He was also inducted in 2015 into the AME Manufacturing Hall of Fame. So before I tell you a little bit more, Bruce, thank you for being here. How are you?
Mark, thanks for having me. I worry when I hear those accolades. It kind of sounds like the thing they do just before somebody passes, like lifetime achievement, this and that. If you hang around long enough, these things happen. So it's a pleasure to be with you. And, this is the 25th anniversary of Toast Kaizen. I don't know if you knew that.
Yes.
We released it in 2004, and it was what was well received, which is great. But I actually made that video in my kitchen with my son, holding my son, who at the time was 2 months old, and he's now a videographer, so he probably could do a new version if I ever did. Won't. I've decided people ask you why would I want to do that? But anyways, it's also the 20th anniversary of GBMP's Northeast Lean Conference, which actually began as a Northeast Shingo conference. At one point, the Shingo
That's right.
had an interest to have a regional prize. So, full disclosure, it's not actually the 20th year. It's the 20th year we've had a conference. First year, I think we had 65 people, and I think 64 of them were from one company. So things have changed. They've grown happily. We anticipate maybe our target is 400, pushing for that a little right now. Last year, we had people from 23 states, actually. We call it the Northeast Lean Conference, but people move away and then come back. I got a note this morning from somebody, actually a text from somebody who was a customer here in Massachusetts, and then he moved out of state, and he let me know that he was coming. And I was thinking about this, Mark. That's probably my favorite part of conferences. Not that I mind the keynotes because there's always good information,
Sure.
I'm not much of a socializer, with the exception of maybe our Lean After Dark event, karaoke type stuff where you can make a fool of yourself. But actually meeting practitioners, people have been customers or former employees or former bosses, and sharing. That's something that can happen at a conference, which is hard to do in other ways.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing my friend whom I haven't seen in 9 years. And I'm sure, I'm hoping to make a few more friends at the conference.
Yeah. Which friend is that? Which friend you haven't seen in 9 years?
I don't know if I should mention his name, but I will. Howard Wu is his name.
Okay. Hey,
And
Howard.
you know him. I know Howard as somebody who was an incredible leader, kind of leader. He was not a leader from a management standpoint, but he managed up and got a lot of people involved in a way, very admirable way. So I'm really going to be excited to see him.
Well, good. Well, how dare you mention somebody in such a positive manner?
Yeah, well, this is true. This is true.
Yeah. Well, the event.
I'll be looking forward to seeing other people as well.
Sure. The 20th annual Northeast Lean Conference, Leveraging Lean to Thrive, November 7th and 8th. There'll be a link in the show notes, and we'll talk more about the conference. But yeah, I tell you, Toast Kaizen, it was probably 2007, I want to say. I had a client in healthcare who had bought, at my recommendation, they had bought the Toast Kaizen video, and they had watched it, and we had talked about it a lot, and they rewatched it a lot. Very great video. And then I think I was at one of the Northeast, and I'm sure it was the Northeast Shingo conference at the time, and I got a picture with you, and they were so excited. I remember the one nurse, and it's still pictured. She's like, "You met the Toast guy." She was She couldn't believe, like you were a celebrity to her.
It's crazy. That still happens, after all this time. There definitely is a generation coming along who have no clue about that, and that's fine too. But people treat me like a movie star, and look, the video is famous. That's
Yeah.
what's famous. I just happen to be the guy that's in it. But of course, I'm always happy to take some pictures. And yeah, for the 25th anniversary of Toast Kaizen, we have a few surprises involved at the conference. Maybe we'll have some people come and make a slice of toast. And I don't think I've ever autographed a slice of toast.
I
But
was going to ask you that. People try to bring you toast after breakfast. Say, hey,
that
Bruce,
has happened. Yeah.
how many
Get
slices?
bad jokes.
We can. Do they try to act out the whole thing in front of you?
Yeah, I've probably heard the same jokes over and over again. I'm flattered. It was,
Yeah.
it was made really out of desperation when I was in industry. It was something I did to get my managers to get out of their offices and go observe, and it just happened to hit a mark. So very happy about that.
And unlike a lot of great films, you didn't rush to cash in on a sequel that didn't quite live up to, Toast 7 or something. I'll give you credit for holding to your artistic vision.
I just got to say, Mark, we were honored when the Shingo Institute recognized the video.
Mhm.
But one question that I got, and I won't say from whom, was why didn't you find a more attractive actor to do the? I was an old guy even then, and so they were looking for a movie star.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard to believe that this many years have gone by, and the theme of the conference is, look, we've all come off of a recent calamity with COVID, and so those kinds of things are fresh in our mind, and it's still a thing. There's, shortages of parts, and people are hard to get.
Mm.
But the reality is, I was thinking, there's never been a time in my life where there wasn't a whole lot of uncertainty. It's kind of just the way things are. And I still remember as a little kid climbing under a desk, hoping that we would not receive a nuclear attack. I'm old enough to remember that.
Yeah.
And lived through a Vietnam War. There were protests of the war and racial protests and assassinations. Some horrible times, and of course the Twin Towers. That's in this century. All of these things. This kind of stuff's happening all the time. So it's not so much like that we've suddenly reached some period where things are uncertain.
Right.
The reality is that these are things that we need to count on, and oftentimes when I'm working with a client, we're trying to implement a new idea. I said, assume it's not going to work. It's going to be a problem right off, because there's things that you haven't actually considered. So we're going to try to touch on that type of theme, the impact that real scientific thinking and systemic thinking can have on let's say long-term preparation, not just the event we have today, but what do we need to do in order to to sustain ourselves in the long term. And that has a lot of implications, with a whole generational change and all that sort of thing.
Yeah. So the theme, leveraging lean to thrive, to me speaks to the idea we shouldn't be implementing lean, or whatever phrase you use, or using lean tools just to use lean tools. It's really about how do we thrive as a business, delighting customers, creating a great environment and security for the employees. So those are a couple of ways I think thriving is really enabled by lean.
All of those, and I think back to to this recent mess that we had with COVID. There were organizations that already had kind of a basis where their employees were engaged and there was trust, and those companies actually took this as a challenge. There unfortunately were too few of those. Others kind of found reasons to back off and do nothing. But for the companies that had created that culture, and when I say culture, I don't just mean kind of the environment that you work in. You actually have to know what improvement means. You have to actually have the skills to be a problem solver. And when those things are in place, challenges like COVID, awful as they are challenges. They're not just areas we're not hiding. We're going to find a way to deal with them. So we felt that, this is a good theme for all times, not just for current day.
Yeah. Well, looking at the list of keynote speakers, some of the best lean thinkers and doers in not just the Northeast, but I would say anywhere. A couple of them are former podcast guests and friends of mine: Steve Spear, Carl Wadenston. So it's going to be a great lineup for the speakers. And then, like you say, Bruce, I love hearing really engaging speakers like them, but the networking opportunities and the hallway conversations and the discussions over breakfast, whether Toast is involved or not, those are some of the other things that bring a lot of value.
Yeah, I just got to mention all the speakers are great, and Carl has been a friend for a long time, and I tell Steve I knew you when you were a kid, and he's a great friend, has been a friend for a long time. But there's one speaker who agreed to speak, and this is Andrea Haas, who is the president of Summit Polymers. And this is the site where, typically Toyota, TSSC takes their project companies to learn what TPS really is.
Oh, wow.
And but my connection with Andrea is when I was working as a project company for Toyota. They sent in a young 22-year-old, 20-something industrial engineer to help me work on a project for setup, to help us work on a project for setup. I must say my first reaction was, oh, 22-year-old kid, what's she going to know about, setting up a CNC lathe?
Mm-hmm.
And well, of course, I was wrong, embarrassingly wrong. Wasn't that she knew anything specifically about setup, but she knew what TPS was, and she kind of dragged me through a keyhole. And that's going back now to like 1998. So it's that long ago. And so I made this request, and I was just delighted that because she's now president of a large corporation. It's not like she has a lot of free time. Really excited to have her share. Of course, all of the speakers. Steve has a great new book, and looking forward to hearing his presentation as well. But as I said, the side events, the networking, we're recognizing, let's say, newbies to lean who weren't managers through our Silver Toaster Award.
Yeah.
And we also instituted a Lean Pioneer Award. We started that last year, and so nice to have some recognition for all the baby boomers that may be passing the baton on to the next generation.
Yeah. Well, Bruce Hamilton is both a Toast guy, and you end up with a nickname when you name your blog Old Lean Dude. So we could maybe also call him that, which I'm sure, clever on your part. Old Lean Dude as an acronym is OLD, old.
That was an accident.
It's a nice touch. There was an accident?
Yeah, there was somebody who did actually did a parody of the Toast video, which I always love.
Oh, and that was Beer Kaizen, right?
No, this was a different one. Beer Kaizen was great. I love that one. But
what was the other parody?
It's still out there on the internet, and it's no particular notice, except I noticed it, and he's making toast while his 2-year-old son watches, and at the end he says, much faster than the old lean dude or the old guy or something like that. So I said, well, damn it, that's it. That's what I am. That's what I'm going to be then. And that's where that came from.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so nothing too clever. It was just so good. So listen, Mark, appreciate you to help us promote the conference, and I'm sorry that you can't make it. I understand
I am
you're going
too.
to be in a more interesting spot anyway, so that's great. Good for you.
Yeah, well, I'll be in Japan, which I'm excited about, but I certainly do encourage people to go to the Northeast Lean Conference. I can honestly say it's been a good experience when I've been there. It's a good experience when I'm not there. I'm saying it's a good experience. I didn't mean it like that. November 7th and 8th. I'll make sure there's a link to the GBMP website in the show notes. And now that we've gotten you on here for this little bonus episode, Bruce, I'd love to have you back sometime and really hear more of the Toast Kaizen backstory. And the one question everyone wants to know: do you still have that T-shirt?
I do. Yeah, absolutely. I have every T-shirt I ever purchased. And it's a lot. I mean, I don't know. I don't buy many clothes, but I buy T-shirts.
You heard it here.
There's a lot of funny things in associated with that goofy video.
You heard it here.
Happy to come back at some time, Mark,
right.
and have a longer talk about that.
That'll be great. You heard it here first. Bruce Hamilton has a T-shirt inventory problem. We'll explore that more next time. But Bruce, thanks for joining us, and I hope the event goes well.
Take care.